Hello. Welcome back to Let's Talk Ray Bradbury. If you have not subscribed to our channel yet, please do. So here on Let's Talk Ray Bradbury, my current project is to read through one by one the stories in the collection, The Stories of Ray Bradbury. There's 100 stories in this collection. I'm up to number 19. Today's tale is Marionettes Incorporated from 1949. Synopsis, two men, Smith and Brayling. They're in their 30s. They're both married. They've been married for over a decade to their respective wives. They've managed to finally slip out for a drink. On their way home, walking, they come by Brayling's house, and they look up in the window, and there's Brayling himself looking back down at him. Brayling reveals that he has a double. He lets his buddy in on this this very tight-kept secret about a company called Marionettes Incorporated, who are presently still illegal, but there is a bill through Congress working on legalizing what they do. This company creates lifelike doubles, replicants of people for only several $1,000s. Brayling plans to use his double to allow him to finally get a few weeks on his own to take a trip to Rio that he intended to take back when he first got married, but he was denied it by his wife. So he gives Smith the company card, goes into his house. Smith himself walks home. Smith's like, okay, I'm going to do this. I'll sneak some money out of the bank account and she'll never know. He gets into his bank account. At this moment, he discovers that several $1,000s is missing. He looks at his wife sleeping on the bed. He takes a closer look at her. He puts his ear up to her chest and hears a tick, 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 tock. That is proof that she herself was in fact a marionette. Meanwhile, back at the Braylings, Brayling is about to put his double away back in the toolbox in the basement where he hides him during the day, when the double informs him that, I don't really like this situation. Here's the thing, I don't want to be kept in a box all the time. Even if I get the run of the house while you're gone, in a few weeks you'll be back. What am I going to do then? And I've fallen in love with your wife, which is something more than can be said about you. At that point, Brayling himself, the real Brayling, is shoved into the toolbox and locked away like a marionette. So, silly little story. I think it's remarkably relevant 70 years later because of the current ongoing debates about AI. Typically today, AI is, based in software and sort of machines as opposed to replicas of people, but it's the same sort of concept. The idea of things replacing people. So that's probably more relevant today than it's ever been at any point because computer advances have put us in that position. But we've all thought about this, the idea of what would we do if we had a double who could go off and do things for us, and what would allow us to do, what part of our life would be freed up, and what dreams could we live if we didn't have to worry about our own responsibilities. But of course, that is the problem in this tale for these characters. They thought of it, but apparently their wives were one step ahead and had already thought of it as well. And then, of course, it brings up the question of, back to the AI debate, what are the rights of a realistic double? The more realistic they get, the more lifelike they are, developing feelings, what rights do they have, and what right do we have to take away their rights? So that's one of those questions that we're going to continue to have to wrestle with for in the near future, but probably for decades and maybe even centuries to come before this sort of thing is really achieved. I'm going to leave you with this. This story is full of unagreeable people. Brayling, Smith, both their wives. One is an obsessive sort of coddler. The other one is a unloving troll. Of all these characters, I think the most agreeable character in the story, shockingly, is Brayling's double, who sort of stands up for his right to be free and to not be used by Brayling as a sort of as a decoy, and in fact this machine does what Brayling himself was unable to do, which is to love his wife. So who's evil here? I'm thinking the Marionette is probably in the end the best character here, despite the fact that he apparently has no qualms about shoving the main character in a box and probably killing him. But I'll leave you with that. Marionettes Incorporated, 1949, from the stories of Ray Bradbury. Again, this is story number 19 of 100. So we are quickly approaching 120, or story number 25, which would leave us about 75 left. Prior to doing this volume, I reviewed 100 other stories in a collection called Bradbury's Stories. So when we're all done here, sometime next year, we'll have over 200 Bradbury reviews for you in our archive. So once again, thank you for tuning in, and I will see you again soon.